It's a beautiful midwinter's day, mid-July in New Zealand. Look at that. And today we're going to be doing some mulching. We're doing it today because it's been dry for 4 or 5 days and there's nothing worse than trying to mulch wet stuff. And we're going to be mulching all this and all this. You'll notice there are some quite big branches in there. And there's other stuff around the property too. And to do the mulching, we're going to be using this, a Hansa C7. A truly wonderful piece of engineering. Its main feature is it chops up stuff. Its second main feature, which is actually its best, is that it self-feeds. You put a branch in and it pulls it through and then shoots it out the chute here. And I've got a bag for collecting. Don't buy any other mulcher except a Hansa. For the size of our property, I probably should have got a C13, but I've done a lot of work with this. I've already changed the belts and I regularly take off the blades and get them sharpened professionally. And this morning I've started it, haven't used it for months, and it started no trouble. I checked the oil, checked the filter, ready to go. The other thing I'm going to use a lot is this electric chainsaw. For convenience, it's certainly easy start and just stop, start. It's really good. It's a MSA 140C. Wonderful machine too. It's featured in another of my videos. Its battery is charging, almost charged. Interesting note, this morning it wouldn't start, a red light came up, and that's because it's too cold. I had to put the battery out in the sun for 5 minutes to give it a bit of warmth. Then it charges. And here's the mulcher in place, ready to go with the mulching bag. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with the mulch actually, but secondary issue. You notice I've got a metal pole holding out the end. It's quite an art getting the bag positioned properly because the mulch comes flying out at a great rate. I've yet to use my little chainsaw to separate some of the small to medium branches from the big branches which I won't mulch or can't mulch. Why it's important for it to be dry is the chute comes out of the grinder bit, and if it's wet it just clogs up inside that chute, the outlet here. So if you can get it all dry, happy days. Last item before we start is protective gear. The machine is very noisy. This makes life much more comfortable. I just bought some new ones. And gloves, of course. There's spikes everywhere. And the glasses. About once an hour, by sheer chance, a bit of wood will come flying back out the chute. The way you put it in, and that comes straight into your face. It's happened to me before, a number of times. You wouldn't think it would, but it does. So the cutting rotor, you start it disengaged, then engage it, and then turn it off, disengage it before you stop the engine. The reason for that is that the rotor is really big and it's impossible to start with the belts engaged. The mulch is a bit coarse, or the bit on top is anyway. The mulch you get is very dependent on the sticks. Like this thing here is going to produce coarse chippings. So you can get really good mulch, or you can just get cut up sticks. Varies. So I'm going to take this thing of stuff and dump it over there by the fence. You might ask why I don't shoot it there, but it's best to have your machine right where the sticks are, otherwise you're doing a lot of walking. Okay, I've cut all of this apart from the big bits, and a fair chunk of the pile is gone too. It's slow work, but it's only been 2.5 hours, I think, so it's okay. Look at that, it's all gone. It was an epic, maybe 4 hours work, and I've got all that mulch over there, which I'm going to cover up with plastic, keep it until spring. It's quite hard. If you look at branches like this, where you've got side branches coming out at right angles, you've got to really push it through. Even though it self-feeds, once it gets going, it's quite tough. These grapevines will go through very easily, and this stuff, because they just straight run, straight through, and it's quite easy. So I've just about finished. It was bigger than I thought because my wife kept bringing up more stuff from somewhere, I'd have to call it. And a job well done. All this big stuff here gone. That whole pile over there gone. We've even raked up some of the cuttings here and put them in 4 bags for ready to use mulch. Other than that, the mulch is ready to go in spring or whenever we need it. It's too wet after the cyclone and all the bad weather to put it on the ground. You don't want to put mulch on ground when it's too wet. Mulch is for keeping ground moist. It's plenty moist. A bit was thrown into the compost bins, green stuff, but I'm really happy. The blackbirds will be happy now to get in here and get what's left. There she goes. She's making more stuff to mulch. A rose.